Hello to all of you. My name is Dr. Beth Brombos. I am a blogger. I'm an author. I use the content from the blog that I've been running for about 4 years to publish my first book, Yoga for Runners in 30 Days. And I am also a copywriter. I freelancer, do a couple other things. Today I wanted to get on and chat about testing an idea for a book. So this is definitely great for bloggers who are considering writing a book, but it's also really helpful for just anybody, honestly, looking to write a book, even if you're not already a blogger. So whenever we launch a new product in a business, whether it's a book or something else, it's really important to test and see if there's traction. I will say that there are other reasons to write a book than just to make money. And what I'm going to go through in terms of testing is to make sure that your book will be profitable, that you'll be able to make some money. However, you could even write a book and maybe not expect to make money from it. And people certainly do that because it's going to help you gain authority. You're going to become known as an expert in your field, and also just being able to say that you're an author of a book automatically gives you a little bit more legitimacy and authority as well. So keep those in mind, that it's not all about making money. However, if you choose to try to make money from your book, I strongly encourage you to test that idea. So the first thing that I would recommend doing is just asking your readers if they would be interested in a book on that topic, or even better, asking them if they would pay a certain amount for that book. So if, for example, you are planning to sell your ebook for $4.99, ask them, hey, would you be willing to pay $5 for for a book, ebook, whatever you plan to do on this topic, and see how many people respond. Because a lot of people, if you just say, hey, would you read this book? A lot of people would say, oh, hey, sure, if it's there, I would read it. But not a lot of people will necessarily say, oh, yes, I would spend X amount of dollars on that book. So be sure to ask that first, and be sure that you've got a good number of people saying that they actually would before you even really go through, putting together your marketing plan, putting together your outline and everything. Then what I personally did, and I'm very glad I did this, I would encourage actually anybody to do this if you are planning to sell a book, is start actually pre-selling your book. Depending on how you do it, if you sell your book through your blog, you can just take pre-sales through PayPal. Amazon does have ways to do pre-sales, but in some of those you actually need to upload your book, and you need to have the content written, so that can get a little tricky. But I will and highly encourage you to do what I did, which is I actually asked readers to pre-order my book, so that I knew that there was actually a demand for it, especially that people would actually put money down on that book before I even really started writing. Granted, I had a lot of the content already. I'd say at least half of my book, likely even more, likely closer to 60 or 70% of my book, I actually co-opted or repurposed blog posts that I had already written, so it was a little bit easier. But before I went through all of the trouble of formatting, of editing it, adding more material to actually make it into the book, I made sure that people would pay for it. And I would strongly encourage you to do the same thing. A lot of people even raise their hand. I'd say I probably had 10% of the people who raised their hand and said, oh yeah, I would totally buy that book, definitely, actually go ahead and purchase that book. So there is a big difference. People will say they'll buy it and then they won't actually buy it. And this goes for any product. And so it's also very important to test whether people are actually going to put money down. Put money where their mouth is before you spend a ton of time putting together a product. But again, that is if your main purpose of writing a book is just to make money. Again, there are a lot of really important reasons to write a book besides making money. So keep that in mind. You know, if you also want to get all of those other advantages, it may be worth it to create a your book as well. And I'm going to read your comment, Jacqueline. Yes, yes, exactly. And I've had that happen too, time after time. People are like, oh yeah, I totally want that. And then they don't. Yeah, oh, I'm so sorry, Jacqueline. That's so frustrating. Definitely, I mean, so if you are in Jacqueline's exact same spot, and I know I've been there with products too, where people said they wanted something and then you went ahead and created it, and then you have this product that nobody bought, keep a hold of it. Yes, yes. So Jacqueline, you could absolutely, maybe it flopped with your current followers, but you could take that same material, maybe add to it a little bit, rework it a little bit, and put it on something like Amazon. Get it in front of different people or repackage it, maybe talk to some of your followers, talk to even people who aren't your followers. But if you haven't read Pat Flynn's book, Will It Fly? It's an awesome book. I would recommend it over and over it again. I would strongly consider it, definitely. Consider taking the book down from your site and repurposing it with something else. If it's not selling, you could try marketing in different ways if you haven't for a while, but it might be worth taking that material, doing something else with it, because that that's work you have, that's content you have, that's valuable. Sometimes we just need to figure out how to repackage that work we've already done. Say it's got a red bow on it, we just got to put a blue bow on it and maybe add some metallics to it or something, make it a little bit shinier, or just package it in a different way. It's still the same stuff, but we have to figure out what the what the work, or not the workplace, what the marketplace wants, and really what people are looking for, what our followers are looking for if we're marketing to them. But also there's a much larger world. Most of us don't, not everybody sees our stuff. And so there are different ways of getting, the word out too, and getting different eyes on your product. So I really hope this was helpful to those of you who are thinking about putting together a book. Really hope that you think through really testing your idea. Certainly test the marketplace, but know that if you do have content, and even if it's not working for your marketplace, that there may be other ways to repackage it into something, the same material, the same words, but you're just going to kind of tweak it and make it something people are interested in. So if you have what you think is a great idea and it's just not resonating, maybe have a conversation with some close friends who would kind of closely resemble your niche market or marketplace. Maybe you want to get on the phone with a couple followers if they don't mind. Or I've even gotten on the phone with people, be like, hey, let me ask you some questions just about, some ideas I've got. I'd love to have your feedback and just kind of know what your pain points are. If you do that, just 10-15 minute phone call and I'll give you a Starbucks gift card. And that's worked really well for me. So if you're trying to figure things out too, and you just throw that out to your audience and it's not necessarily resonating, maybe it's time to take a minute to really sit back and see what your audience needs and see how you can repackage that content to fit their needs. And sometimes it really does take just like literally sitting down with a few people and listening to what they need and working from there. So if you found this helpful, first of all, thank you so much to everybody who gave the hearts. I'd also love it if you'd share it with your followers if you think they would find it helpful too. And thank you very much for your time watching. I will be back soon with lots of other tips about creating a book. Have a good day.